All right, ready? I don't care about your feelings.
That was so odd. You'd be left of Lenin.
I can't believe you said that. Oh, jeez.
You have no power here.
What? Just two brothers.
It's just two brothers. I mean, listen, firstly, I think we're being a little too liberal with the term whistleblower. Because whistleblower generally means that you are fleeing from a company, you are releasing new information that we didn't know, and the information is often illegal. She came out and told us that Instagram is bad for teenage women's health. Mental health.
Really?
You don't say!
She dropped a bomb!
Oh, boom! Yeah. Hey, you know what? I'm about to be a whistleblower. Are you ready? Smoking cigarettes is bad for you. No! Do I get to testify in Congress? Do I now get to be the head of the AFT?
How about beer companies don't care about people who get drunk?
You don't say! Oh my gosh!
What? Yeah, this. Yeah. Anyway, when you said that she was, or I guess the information we have alludes to she was the head of this team, and she's complaining literally about what the team was doing, so she kind of points as herself as being a failure.
Well, no. She's not a failure. She just needs more power.
Oh, okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
She was constrained by Facebook. We need to make a new federal agency that she can be the head of so she can really do her job.
Then maybe, so then that goes back to the whole conspiracy idea of this being in cahoots with Facebook.
I want to talk about that in a second here. Let's finish talking about Haugen, because she decided that she was going to donate to Democrats 36 times since 2016. She donated to AOC's campaign. Oh, I'm sorry. The very esteemed, so fresh, so face.
Venerable
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Here's a picture.
Bartender.
She's one of my favorite people. I think everybody who watches the show knows that she's one of my favorite people.
Yep. Well, her lawyers are also John Tai and Mark Zaid. And you might have remembered Zaid because he was a part of Andrew Bakar's, his legal team. And if you remember, he was the whistleblower of Trump's Ukraine phone call. Okay. Well, she's also being advised by former Obama administration deputy press secretary and his consulting firm. So this woman has deep ties into the Democratic Party.
It sounds like she's doing this to make a bid for office. That really is what this looks like. Because why would you have a Obama administration press secretary be involved in this thing unless you're going to make a bid for office? That's where she will end up ultimately. You heard it here first, people. She is going to run for office. At some point, you are going to see her run for office. No, she might be appointed. I mean, what's better than running for office? The only thing better than running for office is being appointed to be a bureaucrat.
That's exactly what she would rather.
They're robots, Morty. I don't respect them.
They're bureaucrats. No, it's obvious. Look at here. She is being coached by the Democrats. She donates to Democrats. She's being coached to Democrats. By Democrats. She is advocating for censorship of misinformation. She has, in all of her other companies, she's sitting there doing far left activism things. This is completely a far left activist thing. This is the Democrats' hard push to nearly take over Facebook. They want to run Facebook. They want to run Instagram. They want to run, honestly, YouTube. They want to run all social media companies. And what this would effectively do is reinstate the media monopoly that they had before these companies were put in. Democrats and Republicans are not on the same page when it comes to this. Do not let them trick you and say that Democrats and Republicans want to regulate Facebook, because that is not true. We do not want to regulate Facebook. We want Facebook to just follow their own rules. In fact, if we could look at their Section 230 guidelines, what we would really want is the in good faith, the catch-all clause at the end of that to be removed. That's what we want. We want less regulation when it comes to it, because we don't want censoring. You remember when Facebook came out and said that they were just a platform for free speech? Yeah, no. And this is what happens when you start placating to the hard left. You remember before 2016, Facebook was not placating to the hard left. They would say that they wanted right-wing sources taken out, discredited, and downgraded in their content. And Mark said, no, we're not going to do that. We are an open platform for free speech. And then slowly things started to change. They, the left said that if you don't do this, we're going to start regulating you harder. And so he decided to outsource their content or their moderation to fact-checking. This is where the whole fact-checking industry began. It began by them saying that we're not going to do it because we want to still appear as if we're a neutral source or a place for free speech. And instead, they just outsourced their fact-checking to largely hard left organizations that now just go in and do their bidding for them. And now the left, once you give them an inch, they take a mile. And here is exactly what happens. Facebook cannot have their cake and eat it too. They should have, this is why you don't apologize. This is why you don't concede. This is why you don't give that inch. Because this is what happens. Mark is now going to probably be regulated by a federal agency, which would be quite potentially the dumbest thing that we could possibly do.
So you're saying that they want to use this as leverage to take a playbook right out of China.
That's exactly what they want to do. Yeah, it's not even a question.
For a lot of people, so people don't really, I mean, they're the people who are older than myself know this, but a lot of younger people don't realize that before there was internet and social media, you got your news, you got all your information from usually the nightly news and newspapers. What a lot of people didn't know at the time was how deeply regulated and tied into the government those news sources were. So, we're supposed to have a free and unregulated press, and there's people who actually do that. There's news organizations, there's individuals who publish news that's actual real news on unbiased news. But a lot of people don't know that if you go back historically, that news was biased. There was limited news sources, so it was harder to question. And you just took whatever the news channel, the nightly news, the 6 o'clock news, the 10 o'clock news that was on it every day, whatever those anchors, whatever was broadcast by those people was taken as the news. And that a lot of times that was manipulated. It just that back in the 50s and 60s, people didn't realize that it was really being manipulated. But once the internet showed up, and now you had people like us. You had people like us. Drudge was doing that in his living room. They were just, hey, I'm going to dig up. I'm going to talk about what's going on, and sometimes it blew up. And before that, you had some cable access stuff that was very, very local. But until the internet came along, the voice of the common man was decided on by these companies. And they got to make the decision on who got to say what and how it was represented. So now the government has lost some of that, and this is a bid to try and get it back. So we're supposed to have free speech, we're supposed to have unregulated press, but what they want to do is they want to just control it enough so the voices that they don't want to be heard cannot get heard.
They are trying to reassert the monopoly that they had. This is what that is. It was a media monopoly that they had back then, and they're trying to reassert